A new house bill is looking to create a massive opportunities for sellers right here in San Diego. So we're going to get into what the bill is. Is it all that massive? It's actually an extension of something that we currently have. So we're going to get into the current framework of the tax incentives. And then also, is it going to do anything to help with the current inventory situation in today's market? That's what we're getting into right now. Howdy, Chris Erickson right here in San Diego with the Beach Life Group. So if you guys are thinking about making a move, you got questions, feel free right down below. Book your discovery call. We got your back when making a move here in San Diego. And if you want to stay up to date on everything happening in real estate right here in San Diego, be sure to subscribe. We're dropping new videos every single week. We just started a new show on Friday. It's called the San Diego Property Show. Highlight a few properties around town, something unique, something cool, just something that we wanted to highlight within the San Diego market. So stay tuned for that. Let's get into it. So here's what the bill is. A House bill would incentivize home selling in an effort to boost supply, which is one of the biggest things we are lacking right now. While there's plenty of buyer demand out there, one thing that we're lacking is home sellers. So that's what we'll address in the third part of this video. The bill would increase the sales gain tax exclusion to $500,000 for single filers and $1 million for joint filers, basically doubling what we do have right now. A duo of bipartisan U.S. House representatives introduced the More Homes on the Market Act. I do like how they are trying to get more inventory on the market. There's been a few programs in the recent past that do help out home buyers here in California. There was a first-time home buyer assistant program that got all taken up. All the allocation for all those funds got taken up by current home buyer demand in about, I think it was 11 or 12 days. Now that just adds fuel to the fire on demand, while this is actually potentially helping to unlock some of the home sellers out there. So this bill would increase the sales gain tax exclusion for $500,000 for single filers and $1 million for joint filers, according to its current language. Currently, single family homeowners who sell their home can exclude $250,000 in gains from capital gains tax, while joint filers can exclude $500,000. You can see these amounts were set back in 1997 and haven't changed since. So if you bought your house back in 1997, in 2007, and 2017, this number has not changed. And you guys know that home prices have changed quite a bit since then. But one of the benefits of home ownership is when you do go to sell it, you do get to exclude a portion of the proceeds from your tax. Now, this is for primary residence. We'll get into the details of that in a little bit. So they're running it through right now, but let me run into what the current exclusions are, just so if you are a homeowner, maybe you don't know this. And I'm going to say this all with a caveat. If you are looking to make a move and you have any questions as far as capital gains and taxes and all that kind of stuff, definitely hit up your CPA or your tax professional so that they can really dive in, because every situation is super different. I'm going to give you the broad strokes of what the current exclusions are. But like I said, hit up your tax professional and dive into your specific situation. Capital gains tax on current home sales. Do you have to pay capital gains tax on your home sale? That really depends. One of the biggest things that it depends on if it's your primary residence, or if it is your investment property or a rental property, or even there's some differences between vacation properties, second homes. There's a lot of other things. So most of this stuff does pertain to primary residence. So if you do sell your house, you could owe capital gains tax if you sell your house that has appreciated in value, but most homeowners are exempt from needing to pay it, except if you are single and it's over the $250,000. And this is above the gain on the property. So what you bought it for minus what you're selling it for, minus expenses. And there's, like I said, there's a bunch of other little nuances to it. But just as a whole, I'm going to show you an example here in a second of a potential buying it previously and selling it now, kind of what you potentially could expect. And for married couples, you get $500,000 exemption. Here's a quick little example to run you through what you might expect. Susan and Robert, a married couple, purchased their home for $500,000 in 2015. Then they experienced tremendous growth and home values increased significantly. If you bought in San Diego from now till 2023, you have definitely seen some tremendous gains in the value of your home. Seeing an opportunity to reap the rewards of the surge in home prices, they sold their home in 2022 for $1.2 million. The capital gains from the sale was $700,000. So basically, just they're keeping it real simple. The 1.2 minus the 500, you get $700,000. As a married couple filing jointly, they were able to exclude $500,000 of their capital gains, leaving $200,000 subject to capital gains tax. Their combined income placed them in the 20% tax bracket. Therefore, their capital gains was $40,000. And so that last example was primary residence, meaning you live there. And that even has a little rule too. It's like live there 2 years within the past 5 years. It doesn't have to be consecutive 2 years. If you bought it, lived there for a year, you rented it out for 3 years, lived there for another year, that would also potentially suffice for the 2 to 5 year rule. But as with all this, definitely check with your tax advisor. Like I said before, a lot of different rules, a lot of different nuances. Primary residence are different from investment properties. Now, investment properties, there are some other things you can do, potentially defer some taxes, 1031 exchanges and such. That's a different video. But if you are a homeowner and this current bill does go through, you will potentially get to write off $500,000 and $1 million for married. So is this ultimately going to help the housing situation here in San Diego? I'm going to say, unfortunately, probably not. Now, there's definitely going to be a few people who maybe this moves the needle a little bit. Now they can move on to their next property because they saved that money in taxes to get to where they want to go. But as you can see right here, a lot of these home sellers, according to Goldman Sachs, the 99% of borrowers have mortgage rates lower than 6%. Of those, 28% are locked in at rates below 3%, and 72% are locked in at rates below 4%. So during the past few years, a lot of people have refinanced their house, or even if you purchased in that time, except for the last year or two, interest rates were definitely a lot lower. So anybody looking to sell, looking to get into their next property, obviously the homes have appreciated in value, but also the interest rates, which is going to affect the payment on your property. And when you do move, let's say in that example where they went from $500,000, sold it for 1.2 million, now they go back and buy a house for 1.4 million. Their new property taxes are going to be assessed at that 1.4 million. So I think that's holding up a lot more people. And a lot of these home sellers too will become home buyers unless you're moving out of state, out of county, something like that. So that's going to put some more pressure on the buying demand. So I think with those factors, it's probably not going to move the needle too much. And I think growth in the number of homes for sale to kind of come up to levels that we did see pre-pandemic probably take a few years. We've been trending in this lower range for the last few years. Kind of at the second half of 2022, we did see the number of homes kind of bump up a little bit. And I addressed it in our last video. What happens when interest rates go to 7% mortgages here in San Diego? Inventory did go up a little bit. Now we're still trending right around that spot. We just came down over the weekend, a little bit below that 7% range. So that could potentially have an effect as well. But I don't think this bill in and of itself is going to move the needle all that much. So be sure to tune in here every week on all things real estate. And if you need anything, book your discovery call right down below. We got your back when Make the Move here in San Diego.